And we are talking with the chief. Winston-Salem Police Chief William Penn Jr. is answering your questions. This person's asking, can you text the police department in an emergency?
You can. I wouldn't advise that you do it. If it's an emergency situation, we're going to need to ask you questions so that we can make sure we're sending the right number of officers going to the right place. If we're texting, that's going to cause it to be more time, and it's an emergency situation. So let's not do that.
All right, well, this follows it up. Should I call 911 or the police when I hear gunshots inside the city limit?
911, when you hear gunshots, you never know. It could be someone who needs help. So let's call 911 on those.
Okay. This person says, first up, what encouraged you to become a police officer? And I'd like to say what a fair and excellent job y'all are doing in Winston-Salem. So thanks a lot.
Well, thank you. Our staff is incredible. So thank you to them. When I was growing up, I never saw a police officer. I often say that my dad was a sheriff and my mom was the chief of police. So that's the law enforcement I saw at home. And when I was in college, I got a job working at Forsyth Memorial Hospital, which is now Navant, as a security guard. While I was there, I would see officers working off duty, keeping us safe in emergency rooms. Some of them then began recruiting me. I thought, hey, this seems cool. I'll do this for a little while. Had a plan, maybe let me do this for a couple of years and try something else. And 26 years later, here I am.
Here you are, yes, as the chief.
Yeah.
What is the most frequently asked question that you get as chief?
So the most frequently asked question I get as chief is, I see you on TV, now that I'm face to face with you, I didn't know you were so tall.
We heard a lot of that too, yes, in the newsroom as you came through, that is for sure.
Yes.
All right, what are your goals as chief for 2024?
2024, of course, crime reduction is always a goal. Continued community engagement, ensuring that the community knows that we're out here, why we're out here, and what can we do together. So often we talk at the police department, it's about protecting, it's about serving, and it's about support, because we want to address social drivers of crime. We can't take the lead on that, but we are here to support all of our organizations that are addressing social drivers of crime. And last but not least, we want to increase the staffing. We want our community to see officers as much as they want to see them.
Well, that kind of follows up with one of these questions. It said, is mental and emotional abuse considered domestic violence? When you were saying we want to keep our hands on, what are the social drivers?
So all of those intertwine, and trying to set them apart is kind of sometimes where we get into having problems. All of these things kind of bleed over into each other. That's why it's so important that we have more people coming to the table. So we need domestic violence advocates. We need mental health advocates. We need all of these folks at the table making decisions that's going to keep our community safe.
This person's asking, can you please address notifying an officer of a concealed weapon, how they should do that?
Absolutely. So if it's a traffic stop, the moment you get to talk with the officer, just go ahead and tell them that you're carrying concealed, that you have your license, and tell the officer where the gun is. We receive training on that. We know how to handle that situation. And even in the concealed weapons class, they're taught, and it's actually by law, they have to make sure they make those notifications.
All right, and there was a second question about that, but I think you answered that. All right, so now someone is asking, what do you do when you see a police red light behind you? Do you stop or you go to a lighted area? We've all heard someone, not police, maybe has a red light or something of that nature that looks like that.
So again, like we stated earlier, if you have a light behind you that doesn't seem like a police officer, or you question that, go ahead and call 911 and explain what's going on. The dispatchers there will be able to contact the officer and be able to communicate what's going on if that's truly one of our officers, and if it's not, we'll be coming on the scene to check into
That's right, to help you out.
Right.
Okay. I know so often.
And our lights are blue.
That's right, not red.
Blue, yes.
I know so often we get stuck on the crime stats because that is what makes headlines and stuff. But I know you and I were talking, and you said people are discounting what's happening on the roadways.
Right. Right. So we do. We talk about homicides, and that's a big story, as it should be. However, lost in that is the fact that traffic accidents and pedestrians being hit are on the rise. and we have to, as a community, we have to do a better job of slowing down. As officers have the ability to, we're going to be at those high traffic collision areas, and we're going to be writing tickets, not because we need the numbers, but we have to slow down so we can keep our community safe.
All right, I got about 30 seconds. Favorite part about being the chief of police?
Oh, it is talking to people in the community, talking to people in the department. It's just so amazing what they think and what they say, particularly being born and raised in Winston-Salem. A lot of people in the community are really excited about seeing me.
Well, we're thankful that you are here and that you have answered these questions, taking the time to do that. So we thank you for being here. If you missed any of this, you can find it in the Who Wants to Know section of our website.